D minor, C, B flat. So, and that's just over the first 10 seconds or so, and then you've got D minor for a couple of bars before the verse comes in, and you've got a little bit of tremolo on a high D there as well. So getting into the meat of it, the verse is on a loop which is D minor, B flat, D minor, C, B flat. So it's that's that, and then the bridge after that section is F, C, D minor, A minor, B flat, F, C, and that's just one time through. So it's and then the chorus is pretty straightforward. It's just D minor, C, B flat, C on a loop. And that loops around like that. So I'll just move on to the melody section now. So in teaching the melody, we'll forget the phrasing for now and just focus on the notes. Obviously the phrasing is really important, and you do need to get it later down the line for this piece to be anything like convincing and good sounding. But it's much easier to learn the notes when they're not muddied and clouded by the complex phrasing that's in this piece. So I will be referring to the notes largely in terms of frets and which string it's on, because I imagine most people watching this will be guitar players, and guitar players talk remarkably little about notes and more about tab speak. But I will also call out the notes and where it's going to move scalically or not for the person who is more inclined to read notation or just wants a guide and likes learning things by ear or through video. So we start on the 8th fret on the B string, which is a G, and then we're going to slide up to an A to the 10th fret, and between those two notes in this rhythm for the first little section. And then we're going to move up to 11 on the B string, so B flat, 10 to 11, and then we're going to go back down to those two notes we had before and slide up, so in rhythm, and then we're going to go back up to the B flat, down scalically, so that B flat, down scalically. So quickly I'll run through from the start. Give you an idea of the rhythm. And then we're going to have a little ornament, which is kind of like an upper mordant, between 5 and 6 on the B string, and then down to the D, the 7th fret on the G string. And then we have a similar run through a second time, with a variation here. So we go up to the 8th fret, so, same fret as last time, but we're up onto the E string. So we're hitting a C there before we carry on. And the same down scalically. Same kind of thing there. And then we're into the next section, which we're going to move up to kind of the bass rather than it being down here. We're further up here now. We're going from the 10th fret on the B string, so we're going from an A. Here again, we're not getting into the phrasing, but if you notice, well that didn't sound quite right, it's because the phrasing's not there. So there I would normally go. So, just keep that in the back of your mind and forgive bits that don't sound exactly right, because we are just going through the notes. So it's 10, 11, 13, back down, and down to 8, back up to 10. And then we go up to 15, so we're going up scalically to the D. So we're just kind of reaching a little bit further each time on that little sequence. And we're not going to go up scalically this time, we're going to go straight from 10 to 13 and miss out the 11. So we're going from A to C, missing out the B flat, and then we're going to go up to the D and then the E. So that was just a little similar ornament to what we did here. So that's just E, D, C, and then B flat, A, G, F, A, G, G, F, A, G, F, E, F, D, in the same ornament as last time. So that's that section there. Okay, so they're just the notes for that section. Again, the phrasing sounds quite straight and flat, but you want to get it this way first so that it's nice and easy to remember for when you do put the phrasing in. So I'll just do that section all the way through now, since it's a bit more complicated than the first one to remember. So moving on to the last main section, the chorus if you like. It's the most complicated section in terms of phrasing, so again I'm trying to omit as much of that as possible. So we're starting on the 7th fret on the D string, which is an A. We're going up to an F on the B string, which is the 6th fret, and we're going to slide up to the 10th fret for the A up there as well. And then back down to F. Down to E, D. That same ornament as usual. And then we're moving down scalically there, going back on notes sometimes, so we're on D, E, D, C, D, C, B flat. And again, just be wary of how the singer handles those note bends at this section. Those kinds of things, and just work that how you want to, whether you've got a whammy bar or not, but that phrasing is important to take into account. And after that B flat, back up to the F on the B string, staying on the same string to go up to the A, and then back down to the E, so 10 down to 5. And then the same kind of ornament as usual to get back to the root note of D. So from the start just up to that point, because I know it's not the easiest thing to follow in the world. So that's the outline of the notes there. So moving on to the last section, the chorus if you like, is the most complex in terms of phrasing, so I'm trying to omit as much of that as possible. So let's go through the notes there. So we've got the 7th fret on the D string, which is the A, and we're going up to the F on the B string, which is the 6th fret, and sliding up to the A, which is the 10th fret. And back down to the F. So we'll just do that little section. So I said A, F, A, F, down to A, D, that little ornament that we've done already. E, F, E, down to D, and then we're going to go down scalically and kind of come back on ourselves now and again. So E, D, C, D, C, B flat. And that section there, when you get down to the B flat, just pay attention to how the singer deals with those note bends. And make sure you tie those into your phrasing. Then we're going to go up to the F and go up to the G there, before doing our usual little cadence onto our root note with that little ornament. So for this next section, we're going to go from D, 7th fret on the G string, up to an A, up a 5th onto the B string, so that's on the 10th fret. Only at 1 fret to the 11th. So it's all close Scalic work. So a similar pattern to what we did a moment ago when you go back on yourself. And then again, mirrored as we did on the G string, we go from 5 to 3, E to D, 6 to 8, and then the same kind of ending to the line as what is usual, 5, 6, 5, 7 on the G string, so E, F, E, D. So this is the last iteration of the chorus melody, which is similar to the first time round with a couple of variations. That's the first one. So here we'll go into the 8th fret, the G, rather than the F, the 6th fret. So rather than going 6, 10, 6, we're going 6, 10, 8. And then this next bit's the same as usual. And then rather than going from F to G, as we did the first time round, we're going from F to A. So 6 to 10. So. And then down scalically. And then we get into this last section now, which is very difficult to get spot on, so just do something that sounds decent and that's similar. So it's something along the lines of 10 to 11 to 13, bend up to 15 and further bend up to 17, all on the B string, which may only be feasible if you've got a tremolo arm, but let's try and replicate the note bends that the singer's doing here. And then straight up to 15 here. Bend up to 18. But again, that's all a phrasing exercise. The basic notes are around the C, the D, the E, and the F. The B flat, the C, the A, the G, and then just make sure you end on an A and it'll sound somewhat like. That's the outline of the notes, and if you want any ideas of how to phrase this melody on the electric guitar, check out my playthrough